Hey YouTube, RicoKnows here. Usually I do videos like this for every single team in the Power 5. Now, I wait until June to start doing my transfer portal updates and talking about all the different teams and all the players they've signed from the transfer portal. I'm probably going to do a video a day or maybe 2 videos a day about every single transfer portal class. But I wanted to do one today to give you guys a taste of what it looks like. And at the same time, the MVPs get a deep dive on every single team. So if you're a member of the Patreon or the YouTube, you have to be a member, not subscribe, not follow, but be a member. If you're an MVP, you get the deep dive. I talk about coaching staffs, depth charts, returners, departers, who's transferred, everything. I talk about every single thing about a team so you know how many games they're going to win next year. So you know how to bet with them or anything. But in this case, the group of 5 teams, I've kind of just been leaving it alone. But I came across UConn this morning, and I really got to tell you guys something. This spring, UConn has been dominating the transfer portal like you wouldn't believe. Like, people don't even understand what's happening right now because they're not paying attention and because they don't know the players. But I'm telling you, UConn has one of the better transfer portal classes this spring, and it's just shocking to me. It's shocking nobody's even talking about it. It's going under the radar. UConn Huskies. Shout out to Colin Bolin. That dude, he's been one of my followers. He's a UConn homer. He's going to see this video. I'm sure he's going to lose his mind. But let me tell you guys something. This guy right here, Jayden McDonald, just flipped. He's going from Indiana to UConn. Now, Jayden McDonald never played for Indiana. He was the leading tackler at Troy last year. And Troy's a very good group of 5 team. Upper echelon, if you're unaware of this whole hierarchy here. UConn is one of the very worst independent teams out there. UConn, UMass, their conference list. They don't have any conference. They just play anybody they can. And yes, 2 years ago, UConn looked great. They lost some stellar wide receivers. And then out of nowhere, 2 years ago, they beat Boston College. But last year, they were terrible. And then out of nowhere, this offseason, they've been hitting home runs in the transfer portal. They must have some money. Or players are waking up and saying, I can go play over there. I want some playing time. I'm looking at Jayden McDonald here. My goodness, this is a great linebacker. Great player to get. Yes, he's short. He's only 6 foot, 227. But he's everywhere he needs to be. He's the best linebacker they could have asked for in the transfer portal. And it's not like you're getting redshirt freshmen. I want to make this clear. The vast majority of the players being sent to the portal by their coaching staffs this offseason, at least in the spring, is always a redshirt freshman, a recruiting miss, if you will. So you'll see former 4-star going to the portal. You know why? Because the team's cutting him. The team's saying, hey, we can't afford this. You're not on the roster anymore. You're a recruiting miss, essentially, and you're not in our plans moving forward. Right? You're a defensive end. If you want to stay with us, you're going to be our 4th-string tackle from now on. And I'm not talking defensive tackle. I meant offensive tackle. And that's the mark. Hey, you need to get processed out and go to the portal. So Jayden McDonald in the portal again ends up at UConn. This is incredible, bro. This is a great signing. Get an experienced player, somebody who's led a team in tackles before. That's nuts. Been playing all 4 years. Next guy they get, Sharmar Porter. Now, Sharmar Porter is one of those redshirt freshmen I'm talking about. Former 4-star guy, 92 on his rating. A lower 4-star guy, but still a really good 4-star kid. You go look at him. He's a physical specimen. This young man is 6'2", 205, and he's running a sub-11 100 meters. He's running a 10'8", 100 meters. He's a beast of a man. Now, can he play football? When I watch him, he looks more physically developed than everybody else. I watch all his huddle tape. He obviously didn't play at Kentucky, and there's no shame. Kentucky has amazing wide receivers. And you're looking at this kid, it's like, oh, we're just going to get another transfer. We're just going to keep going. So now UConn just got Sharmar Porter at wide receiver. By the way, in this transfer portal class, he is the 4th wide receiver signed. And I'm going to tell you, he's the least eventful one. All the other receivers are known commodities in the college football world. He's just a recruit from Kentucky. That's not bad to have, bro. You got an SEC wide receiver coming in. It's not bad to have. Shout out to Sharmar Porter. I hope he gets developed. Hope he sticks with the team because they do make good wide receivers. Then we have Ja'Kai Green here. Ja'Kai Green at Charlotte. I want you to know he started his career at Maryland. So this is a Big Ten caliber player. Went to Maryland out of St. Francis Academy. Played at Charlotte last year. Started 8 games. Started 8 games. So you got a guy that can actually start football. He's 6'6", 290, knows what he's doing. You're not getting offensive linemen who've never played the game before. You're actually getting guys who know what they're doing, right? I have Darius Meek still in the portal out of Charleston Southern. I think they should have signed him. It's a whole nother conversation. I have not reached out to the UConn coaching staff to advocate for that young man, but there's still some good players in the portal, but the vast majority of them are redshirt freshmen who've never played, and you're going back watching their tape going, okay, is he any good? Is he a miss or is he any good? We got Javon Banks here. You see it, 6'2", 290, former 3-star, I believe 3-star linebacker coming out of high school. This was a linebacker that they kept feeding until he became a defensive tackle. Started his career at Mississippi State. I believe his brother played on the team back then, right, Jay? So you have Jay and Javon Banks at Mississippi State. Eventually, kind of gets in the rotation a little bit back in 2022. Goes to K-State. Doesn't work out at K-State. There's some dogs over there. So now you're leaving K-State, and where are you going? UConn. SEC, Big 12, UConn. I like it. Been in a weight control program or in a weightlifting program for 5 years. This is a grown man. UConn got themselves a nice plug up front. Shout out to them. Okay. Next guy is incredible. They got Julien Simon. This is the best linebacker you could have asked for. This young man is joining the team with his brother. Okay. So you got older brother Simon also joining. I'll get to him in a little bit, Jayden. But these young men were at Tulsa. This was a starting linebacker at Tulsa, 58 tackles. As a sophomore, you're in the road, you're on the field already. You're a good player, and you leave. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. You go and leave, and you both go to UConn. This is great depth at linebacker. This is a good player. UConn just got better with this move, period. I got to kill that. Commercials going. I should have muted every tab. I apologize. Next, they got Aaron Key, if you're going down the list here. Oh, wait, let me see. Jack Barton. I left Jack Barton out. Jack Barton coming over from Georgia Tech. Not a Georgia Tech kid at all. He was at Furman, the Paladins, last year. FCS guy. I'm still not sure why he went to Georgia Tech. Outside of it, it was closer to home, where he's from. But when he first transferred to Georgia Tech, I was very critical of the move. He was in my bottom 10. It was number 8, I believe, on worst transfers in the winter. I knew it wasn't going to work out. And sure enough, a couple months later, he's back in the portal. Now he's going to UConn. So how do I feel about this move to UConn? Good depth, good piece. He is the right size, 6'4", 265, edge rusher. But other than that, I don't know what he develops into. It's not one of those known commodities like the Simon brothers, right? It's just a dude. Like, cool. It's not bad to get. It's another player to get, another big body. Nick Evers coming over from Wisconsin, former 4-star, dual threat quarterback, all this stuff they talk about. Obviously, transferring from Oklahoma to Wisconsin was a big deal. Everyone asked me, is he going to be the starter? Is he going to compete? And I told you guys 2 years ago, and I told you last year, and I'm telling you now, Nick Evers is not Wisconsin caliber. But if I told you or you guessed that an Oklahoma quarterback, 4-star Oklahoma quarterback, was ever going to transfer to UConn, well, you'd be a damn fortune teller because nobody saw that coming. Okay, so that's amazing. Shout out to UConn for getting a high-quality recruit. I hope Nick Evers shows up and is ready to work. That's all I can say about that. It's exciting for him. We'll see what happens. Julien Simon, I just talked about him. Like I said, a great get for UConn. You just don't get young, talented players like this. No way. You're already in the rotation at your current school. You don't leave Tulsa to UConn. That's a lateral move, and it's just a win-win for UConn in that regard. Now we get Aaron Key, another linebacker coming over from Western Kentucky. But this is another young kid. The Georgia pipeline is real. A lot of these kids are from Georgia. And more importantly, he's been on the field for 3 years now. Right? 2020 didn't count. 21 didn't count. He's only been playing for 2 years. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. And he's been around college football since 2020. 2 years left. Not this year, but the following year, I expect Aaron Key to take that step forward and be the perennial power that they need him to be. Okay, it's pretty cool, though. They're going out and getting players with experience that have actually played. I don't know much about Wes. Congratulations, you got an interior offensive lineman from Syracuse. I don't know much about Wes. I apologize that I don't know him. Curvins didn't play much, but he's a defensive tackle from UCF. Been at UCF, once again, 3 years. Hasn't played much at all. you get another big body. And when I talk to coaching staffs, they all say the same thing. You can never have enough defensive tackles, Rico. We need to just rotate in the big guys. You can never have enough. I'm like, all right, cool. Now, let's talk about their secondary. They went and got 2 players from New Mexico State. Both backups at New Mexico State in the rotation. They were on the field. You saw them a couple times. I want to say McLean really stuck out in the Liberty game for me. I think he had like 7 or 8 tackles. He was all over the field. I don't understand why he was increased by a star. That's really weird that his rating went up, unless, you know, they were wrong because he was only 2 stars coming out of high school. But 2 teammates coming over feeling comfortable, they can contribute and add depth to your defensive back room. I don't know if they're starter material from what I've seen. I think they each have 1 year left. No, McLean's 2 years. Okay, congratulations. I want to say that Ackles was a JUCO guy, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, shout out to them. One of the sleeper picks. Now, I want to tell you guys, Jasaiah Gathings is, from my perspective, I don't know the young man personally. From my perspective, he is toxic. He's argumentative. He just too many antics after every play. I watched all Akron games. I watch every single game in FBS level, right? So I go back and watch all the Akron games. This kid can play football. Looks like he's too good for the MAC. But there's something wrong with him. There's something off about him. Now, if I remember correctly, he was transferring from Akron to Ball State, or to one of the directional Michigans. I think it was Ball State. And then he's flipped to UConn. Congratulations, you're going to UConn. This is a very talented wide receiver. Very talented. They can't be mad at this. He's 6 foot 190. Went for 500 yards last year, 55 receptions. This is high production for a second-year receiver. 55 receptions, and you're transferring to UConn? Yes. Just always arguing after every play, talking that shit, spiking the ball in somebody's face. Just yap, and won't stop. And I know it's your competitive juices flowing. You want to win the game. But from my perspective, it's not the quiet professional that TJ Sheffield is, and we're going to get to him in a little bit, right? So he just needs to mature. He needs to be in a position group room where people are holding him accountable, and he needs to be more conducive. Like, he needs to adhere to the guidance being given. It would be more conducive to his success, is what I was going to say. Like, it would behoove you, that's a military term, it would be in your best interest if you learned how to act right, because you're a hell of a football player. You just got to act right. Shout out to Skyler Bell, another receiver coming over. Skyler Bell is a good football player. It's unfortunate for him. There was a coaching change at Wisconsin last year, and with the coaching change, they brought in Will Paulden, C.J. Williams, Burrows out of Cincy. They brought in like 4 wide receivers, the kid out of Oklahoma State as well. They brought in 4 receivers at Wisconsin, and they left Skyler Bell on the outside looking, and he still got his reps, bro. 38 receptions, 297. Like, this kid can play football. Very good football player, leaving Wisconsin, going to UConn. UConn's wide receiver room is loaded, which is crazy because they lost Gordon last year. They lost some guys that you thought, Marion and all them, they had really good receivers a year ago, and you're like, man, they just lost all the good receivers. UConn's wide receivers are good. UConn is straight up doing what everybody thinks Colorado's doing. Like, UConn's really doing it. They're finding skill players, star players that can make their team better right now. And it's on a smaller scale. I know. Nobody's excited about it but me. But I'm telling you, when I see Darrell Robinson, look at Darrell Robinson leaving Charlotte. Before the season-ending injury, this man was handling his shit. 4.2 yards a carry on a very suspect team against very good competition. Remember, early in the season, Charlotte's playing against good competition. That's when they're playing the Floridas. That's when they're playing out of conference schedule, and it's better than their conference schedule. So if you're a starter early on, that tells me something, and you're getting your reps, and you're getting your numbers. Another thing, the running back room at Charlotte is super deep. People don't realize it, but it is. If you went back and looked at Charlotte, I've never done this before. I'm just going to show you. If we go look at Charlotte, and you go to individual, and you go to running. Where's rushing? Rushing. And you go and look at these yards, you're going to go, oh, there's not much. There's 600, right? Jalen Jones. There's all these numbers. But look at Hassan Wilson here. 327. Do you guys understand that Hassan Wilson was not the starting running back? He's averaging 6 yards a carry. This guy was not getting any playing time, only played in 10 games, right? Didn't play in all of them. And he still had 198 yards and 3 touchdowns against Memphis. Like, that's how good of a running back room they have. There's a guy on the bench that could come in a game against a 10-win team like Memphis and put up almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's so real. And he didn't get those carries. You see him. He's the team's third leading rusher, and he didn't get any carries until that game. That was his first game. Then he got carries the rest of the way. I talked to this young man after the season. He said, do you think I should jump in the portal? I said, nah, man. I think your team needs to believe in you. You didn't start getting carries till the third to the last game. How good are all these other running backs? How good are all these other running backs when they're not playing a guy that can rush for 200 yards against a 10-win team like Memphis? That's what I'm out here. I'm going, whoa, this guy can play. This is a former 4-star player. This is a 4-star player. And he's going to UConn. UConn's got great running backs. Well, one good running back, right? So it's nice, man. I think it's a good get. Add to their running back room. Congratulations. Javarius Sims, this one's a little, is it Javarius that I'm underwhelmed with? No, Javarius is fine. He's played in 24 games with 8 starts, played in the MAC, obviously at Central Michigan, 6 feet tall, another Georgia kid, South Carolina, Georgia kid area. But Javarius Sims, an experienced player coming over, is Jordan Wright that I'm underwhelmed with. All right, watch tape on Jordan Wright, former JUCO kid. Yes, Jordan Wright is coming over from K-State. So you think, oh, he's coming from, he didn't play much at K-State. I went and looked into it. This is a kid, I think they just signed him out of sheer, hoping his athleticism was good enough. Like, out of just watching it and going, you know what? That's a K-State recruit. Some people are into it because he had other offers too. And I'm just like, how's he getting these offers? If he's good, it's news to me. I hope he plays great. Jayden Simon. Jayden Simon, 6'3", 314 pounds, coming over with his brother. This is a young man who was at Colorado for 3 years. Okay? They played their high school ball. I thought he was in Washington. They say Lincoln? Yeah, Tacoma, Washington. I know what I'm saying. But he goes out of high school, goes to Colorado, been at Colorado 3 years, then goes to Tulsa, and now he's going to UConn with his brother. Big body dudes. The Simon brothers are it. I think it was a great get for UConn to get them in a package deal. It's a good move. Shout out to them. Another guy they're getting is Mel Brown right here. It says Mel Brown. His real name is Jayden Brown. Don't ask me how I know that. I'm just RicoKnows, right? He's a Georgia kid. Small, explosive little running back, bro. Great. Went to Gardner-Webb for 2 years. Rushed for over 1,000 yards in the last 2 seasons combined. 11 touchdowns. Just good change of pace back. I'm glad they got him. Okay, I don't know much about the kicker or the punter they signed, Connor Stud. Hey, look, man, I only have so much RAM up here. I only have so much space to learn every player. I can't sit there and learn the kickers and punters too. They're not real to me, okay? And then TJ Sheffield. TJ Sheffield, it says he's leaving Purdue. Let me say this. For the last 2 years at Purdue, he's been the second leading receiver at Purdue. Is a very good wide receiver. I thought he was going to transfer to Michigan State. It was announced everywhere in December. One of the very first signings by Jonathan Smith at Michigan State. It made sense. This is a very good wide receiver. And then he never showed up to Michigan State. The website stopped reporting it. And no one reported that he flipped to UConn. They just never talked about it again. But he has. He's committed to UConn since the day after taxes, which is great. UConn, like I said, 4 wide receivers. Skyler Bell played a lot at Wisconsin at 30 receptions last 2 years. You got yourself TJ Sheffield, played at Purdue, second leading receiver. Gathings, the best receiver at Akron. And then you have a 4-star recruit in Sharmar Porter coming in. They really addressed the wide receiver room and found guys, but I'm also equally impressed. They found 2 linebackers in Julien Simon and Jayden McDonald. They found 2 or 3 defensive linemen. They do need to find defensive backs that are more, I guess, just seasoned. But all in all, UConn's transfer portal class, 22 guys coming in, and they all have like verified experience playing on Saturdays. These ain't high school recruits. These are guys that have played on Saturdays. Some of these guys have been leading their team in tackles. Some of these guys have been leading their team in production. Oh, my goodness. I'm excited for UConn. I hope they put it all together. I don't know how many wins they're going to have. I haven't looked at the schedule or anything like that. I just wanted to sit down real quick, break it down for you guys, and talk about every UConn transfer. I will do this for every single team at some point this summer, but UConn got it first. Shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to the haters. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.